go. Good day, good day, good day, and welcome to the Impact Investing Show with your host, Samuel I Can Win Ikinwin. Guys, I hope you are ready for today. We have a very different kind of show for y'all, and I don't even know how to go into it in the real depths, but guys, I'm telling you, you want to fasten your seatbelt. Tonight's show is the one not to miss. This is the 1 year show. This marks 52 episodes of the Impact Show. And guys, I'm telling you, look, hope you got your glass. We're going to drink to that. So guys, tonight's show, I'm not only bringing on one, but I am bringing on two guests who are going to be able to explode the value on this show and help you guys move further faster in your property investing journey. And the reason we're doing that is because we looked back over the year and we saw that the two guests we actually invited throughout the year were probably the perfect guests to bring back again with me in order for us to do this show where we basically break down to you guys how you can start doing some what we call unstoppable investing, how you can set yourself up so your investments, your investing basically is recession proof. And that's what we're going to basically be covering on tonight's show. Now, for those of you who are brand new to the show, what I'd love for you to do is write the word new in the chat. This is the Impact Property Show where we help you get creative property investing on demand. Yes, you heard me say it, creative property investing on demand. Now, big shout out to every single person who's already hit that like button. You can keep hitting the like button and we love you for it. We appreciate you for it. And if you get value, if you're someone who's new, if you get any value throughout tonight's show, feel free to hit that like button also too. Now, as I mentioned a moment ago, it's episode 52. So you might be thinking in your head, episode 52, how did you get to 52 episodes? What have you been doing for the last year? Well, let me break it down to you guys very, very simply. We started this show some time back, in the March of 2020, when the whole world was getting locked down, when the whole world had no idea what to do anymore. And I had a bunch of my coaching clients as well as students reaching out to me saying, Samuel, I don't know what to do with this. I don't know what to do with that as it pertained to their property investing journey. Now, as a result, I said to my team, you know what? I want to help people move further faster. I want to help people to be able to continue to invest regardless of the current climate as it pertains to property. But the challenge was I could not communicate and connect with every single person that was reaching out to me. Every DM, every LinkedIn message, every Facebook message, every WhatsApp message, every Instagram message that was coming through. I couldn't respond to everyone. So I said to the team, guys, what can we do in order to help all of the people that are trying to get connected with us in order for them to keep moving forward on their property journey? And the team said, look, Samuel, it's simple. All you need to do is make yourself available on a regular basis in order to help people move forward in their property journey. And thus the Impact Investing Show was born. The Impact Property Show basically came out of that. It came out of the fact that the team was sharing with me that if we made ourselves more available on a regular basis, we'd be able to help you guys to move further faster as it pertains to your property investing journey. So what makes episode 52 different, you might be asking? And as I've already mentioned, this is our 1 year anniversary. This is a year ago now since we've been showing up on a regular basis, on a weekly basis, every single Saturday, giving you guys value as it pertains to your property investing journey. So, it's about that time. We might as well say happy birthday to the show because it's exactly that time. Now, unfortunately, I don't have any cake here right now, but if you're one of the viewers and you got cake where you're at, let us know in the chat. Throw some cake emojis in the chat and we will know that cake is on hand for tonight's show. Now, guys, I want to get straight into tonight's show. We got a lot of value to share with you. We've got some powerful guests who are going to be giving us some really, really deep insights as it pertains to some of the things that's been taking place in their own journeys, but how that also marries with what we're actually going to be doing moving forward in helping you in your property journey. But let me say this, guys, for those of you who are tuned in, we've got a number of people tuned in already. Don't forget to say hi. Don't forget to jump into the chat. We're going to be taking questions throughout tonight's show. So again, if you got questions, feel free to throw your questions in the chat as well. Don't forget to say hi, okay? Just a simple HI is all you need to get the ball rolling. So inside of the chat, we can start to build a community of people who want to support each other in order to move forward in their property investing journey. Now, side by side with saying hi, you know what you can do. This is the YouTube world. So you can hit the like the like, you can hit the share the share, and you can also do everything else like hit the subscribe button so you can be a part of this community and you can help us grow and we can watch you grow as we grow. So that's how we're going to all move forward. Now, I'm going to jump into the comments in a moment and see what people are saying in there. Hopefully we got some of the regular viewers who have jumped in to say hi. But side by side with all of that, I want to start with our show disclaimer. And the reason why is because in the world of finance, in the world of real investments, you have people sometimes who misconstrue reality. So what we want to do is we want to make it very, very clear for you at the beginning of the show, from the top of the show, okay, that the information we're providing for you is information only, okay? We are not encouraging you or advising you to go and take any specific steps. But again, if you take those specific steps and they are beneficial for you, you know why that was. So let's jump into the disclaimer. The disclaimer states all information provided and results given are exemplary. Each person's results may vary or differ. Results are based on consistent implementation of strategies. I'm going to say that one more time. Results are based on consistent implementation of strategies. And we advise that you, yes, you, always, not sometimes, but always seek legal and financial advice from a qualified professional. So now that the disclaimer is out of the way, I just wanted to start the top of tonight's show by giving you guys some appreciation. We have recently passed the 350 subscribers mark, and guys, that's not because of me, that's not because of the guests, that is because of you. That's because of each and every person that for some reason has decided, you know what, I get enough value from here, I'm hitting subscribe, I'm hitting the bell, I want all of the notifications to let me know every time Samuel and the team goes live. And guys, we're going to continue doing this because you guys continue to show us your appreciation. So guys, thank you ever so much for what you're doing, and let's keep growing together. Okay, this channel's not just about us, it's about growing together with the community, and this is what we want to do. So let's do this together. Now, today's show, what have we got in store for you on today's Impact Show? Guys, I've told you it's a jam-packed show, but let me run through the agenda for tonight's show. I got Ose Kimwin in the chat who says happy anniversary. Everyone, fantastically fantastic. I love that. Thank you, Ose Kimwin, for your comment in the chat. Guys, it's the birthday show, so let's make it birthday. Let me see some celebratory comments. All right, so we're going to start by the introduction of our two guests. I'm going to be introducing first and foremost Dayna Byfield. Then also I'm going to be introducing Paul Roberts. These are people that if you've been rocking with us for a little while, you would have seen these people on the show. We had Dayna, I believe, in episode 45, and we also had Paul who showed up on episode 33. So again, guys, this is episode 52 and we're still rocking. So let's make this happen. Now, we're going to be speaking specifically, our title for tonight's session is how to grow a recession-proof property portfolio post-COVID-19. Now, there are some people who are not even mindful of the fact that there is a transition taking place right now. And if you're really wise in this transition, you can walk away with the bag, as some of my friends say. And for those of you who don't know what the bag is, just write in the chat, what is the bag? What is the bag? What is the bag? And we will definitely let you know. But straight after I introduce both Dayna and Paul, we are then going to be sharing some value and insights for you guys. I got Maria Adams Thomas in the chat who says, hi, happy anniversary. Thank you, Maria. It's great to have you in the chat. Thank you for joining the stream. Maria, let us know if you're new. If you're new, write the word new in the chat. Now, straight after, the three of us are going to be sharing some value. We're also going to be sharing some insights with you guys. We're going to be speaking about our different vantage points from our different perspectives on how you guys can move further faster in your property investing journey, specifically as it pertains to the post-COVID world and also in terms of building a recession-proof and unstoppable investing portfolio. I got Mark in the chat who says, happy anniversary. Welcome back, Mark. I know you was on the show last week. So guys, it's great to have you guys who are consistently showing up, and also those of you who are new. Now, straight after we share the value and insights, we are then going to open up the show lines, and that's where you guys, yes, you guys, the people that are viewing, get that great opportunity to be on the show, to jump in the show, to let us know by using the link what your specific property questions are as it pertains to some of the things maybe that we're actually speaking about, or some of the broader aspects that are really, really on your mind. And then from there, we're going to go into a kind of live Q&A throughout the show from each of the comments that you guys have thrown in, each of the questions you have thrown in. So look, let me say this off the top because I don't want to waste any time. If you've got property questions, throw them in the chat, guys. The chat is the place for you. We want our live chat community to be a bumping community. And guys, look, I just want to say thank you. Every single person who's throwing in these anniversary messages. I got Ose Kim with the anniversary messages. I got Maria Adams Thomas with the anniversary messages, and I got Mark in there with the anniversary messages. Guys, those of you who are wishing us a happy anniversary, I appreciate you guys. You guys are what made this happen. Now, without further ado, let me say it again, without further ado, it gives me the great pleasure to introduce my first guest for tonight's show, okay? This is a lady, this is a woman who's a powerhouse, okay? CEO of an organization that are helping people to, again, move further faster in their businesses. Now, Dayna Byfield has been working with businesses for a number of years. Her first directorship, she was actually working with an organization that was dealing with a £25 million annual turnover. Now, guys, I'm telling you, the woman knows her stuff, but I'm going to let her introduce herself. I'm going to let her speak to you. So without further ado, let me get some cyber claps. Let me get some live chat claps for my friend, Mrs. Dayna Byfield. Hey, Dayna, how are you doing today? She's on. I'm sure she's on. I got the claps. Okay, maybe there's a bit of a delay, guys. Let me see if I can get Dayna up with me. Okay, guys, let us know if you can hear Dayna. You should be able to hear Dayna. I believe everything is all in place. Dayna, how are you doing today? Okay, I know Dana's talking, but I can't seem to hear her. Guys, can you hear Dana? I can't seem to hear her right now. Is it my fault? I don't think so. Let's check this out. I had you before, Dana. What's happening? All right, let me see if I can sort this out, guys. I got Temi in the chat who says, happy birthday, Impact Properties. Thank you ever so much, Temi, for your comment. All right, Dana, you might have to log out and log back in, sis. I'm not sure why it's not giving us your audio feed. We should have Dana on now. Apologies, guys. We are working on this. Hopefully, we'll get this back in a moment. All right, Dana, I'm going to let you log out and log back in. Hopefully, we can get Dana back on the show. Guys, again, if you haven't hit that like button, press subscribe, and side by side with that, hit the bell notification. Whilst we're waiting for Dana, let me do this. Let me introduce my second guest, okay? If my man is ready, okay? We're going to introduce Mr. Paul Roberts. Now, Paul is the CEO. Okay, I'm getting a bit of feedback, but Paul is the CEO of a financial services organization. Paul is somebody who's been investing in property since the 90s. So guys, I'm telling you, we got all of the guests for you today. So without further ado, let's introduce my man, Mr. Paul Roberts. Paul, how you doing today?
Good evening, Samuel, and good evening, audience.
Awesome.
I'm very well. Can you hear me okay?
Awesome. We can hear you perfectly, and I know Dana's back in the room, so we're going to get Dana back on in a moment as well. We can hear you perfectly, Paul. Paul, tell us just a quick bit about yourself. Who are you? Who is Paul Roberts? Let us know before we go deep diving into tonight's show.
So a little bit about me, Samuel. I'm an accountant by profession. That was my first 9 to 5, let's say, and that's how I trained. Worked in the city for 10 years, but while I was doing that, I was investing in properties and buying and selling and flipping and buying in auctions and in the open market, kind of those vanilla buy-to-let refurbishments that you see on homes under the hammer. That's what I was doing for a long time. When I jumped out of my 9 to 5, it was a question of what should I do. So I set up a financial services business. It seemed to make sense. I'm a financial person. I understood the property game of buying and selling. Can you hear me? Sorry. So, of buying and selling. So it made sense to set up a business helping people to obtain mortgages, which I've now been doing for close to 2 decades. Between myself and my partner, we've got over 30 years of experience.
Wow.
And that's anything to do with property, whether you're a first-time buyer, buy-to-let, a homeowner, bridging finance, buying in the auction room, or development finance. Awesome. So that's a little bit about me. And I've been investing in property, obviously, for the best part of over 20 years now.
That is powerful.
We'll go a little bit more into that later on, but that's a brief introduction of who I am.
That's absolutely powerful. Just to hear, the start of your journey, starting in accountancy, utilizing property from that far back, buying in the 90s, then transitioning into obviously starting your own financial services organization, again, putting you right at the helm of understanding the money aspect of property, and then transitioning from that to continue to build your portfolio. And now, like you said, you and your partner having over 30 years of experience with financial products and financial services. Guys, Paul is a powerhouse, all right? So I hope you guys are ready to go. But like I said, I've got another powerhouse for you. I've got Mrs. Dana, who's here. Guys, we're not going to let technology get us down, all right? We're winning out here. So without further ado, let me bring on Dana, who's hopefully back with us. Dana, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here. Mic check.
Awesome. We've got you. We've got you. We've got you. We can hear you, but it's slightly cutting out, just a slight bit, but we can hear you. And I think there's a slight delay also on your side. Maybe you're getting our audio just slightly delayed, but we can definitely hear you. Dana, this is what I want us to do. I don't want us to waste any time. Share with our audience who you are. Who is Dana Byfield? Let them know.
That is like the $165 million question. Apologies for the delay, guys, and welcome back. And I'm glad to see those of you who were on the last show. I think I was on episode 41. if I recall correctly. And hi to all the new guys and gals who have tuned in this evening. So I have been an entrepreneur for the last 15 years, grew up in quite difficult financial circumstances, and at a very young age found myself in leadership positions. Myself actually sold. I had my first child at 19. I experienced homelessness in my early 20s, and that was when I realized I needed to really learn about money and finance. I took up my first ever business position at director's level at the age of 25, and that came out purely by accident. I went on a course, did a 30-minute kind of presentation to the new students who were coming in about my experience, and the then two directors of that organization offered me a position on the spot to come and help them run that organization.
Wow.
And since then I've started, run, managed, grown organizations, with turnovers well in excess of 290 million pounds. I've previously run a financial services business, which was very successful, that I closed down last year, and now spend all of my time helping business owners solve their problems, grow their business, and working with coaches, consultants, and also investors to really grow themselves, grow their organizations, and make an impact in the world.
Powerful. Guys, listen, I said it, I said Dana's a powerhouse, but guys, look, when someone introduces themselves, you understand the value in terms of their experiences. Dana's shared here, she had a child at 19 that transitioned into experiencing homelessness. From experiencing homelessness, here's what got me. She saw the necessity to start to try to understand money. And then that took her on a journey of understanding money, finances, and again, as she mentioned, even building out a financial services business, etc., etc. Guys, listen, what you need to understand is that you have insight galore on tonight's show. And guys, if you don't take advantage of this, I don't know what to say to you. I don't know how to help you. I'm doing the best I can by bringing the best, strongest, sharpest, fastest people on the show in order to help you guys move forward. Now, look, they're my guests, guys. They are my guests. And tonight, we're going to jump straight in. We're not going to waste any time. What I want you guys to do, those of you who are with us on the show, I know the chat is just flaming up. I can just see the chat just rolling right there. People talking about happy anniversary. So many comments coming through. So guys, again, thank you ever so much. But what we're going to do, we're going to get straight into it. Okay, we're going to get straight into it. And we're speaking tonight about how to grow a recession-proof property portfolio post-COVID-19. And we're going to start with myself, okay? So I'm going to ask my guests for a little moment just to give me a second to share a little bit. But guys, I'm going to share with you just very quickly, okay, about my kind of background, my kind of story, but I'm going to be giving you a principle. And the first principle I want you guys to write down, if you're listening to me, is the key to building this recession-proof property portfolio we're talking about is creativity. Now, anyone who's been watching our show for some time knows this is something I bang on about, I harp on about, creativity, all of the time. Now, why do I always speak about creativity? Why is the Impact Show, the Impact Investing YouTube channel, why is this the place where you get creative property on demand? Well, the reason is because creativity is one of the key cornerstones in order for you to move forward in your property journey. So let me break down exactly how I basically discovered this. I started a number of years ago when I was 11 years old. That was really my first start in property, and many people don't know about this, but I'll share this story with you. It's quite personal, but again, it's really how I got into things. When I was 11 years old, my mum used to work for a central bank in London, and she was made redundant after having worked for 15 years for that bank. And when she was made redundant, she came home, I'm one of 4 boys, so she came home to her sons and she had to let us know that she had been made redundant. As a result, okay, my mum living in a 3-bedroom house without her primary salary coming in anymore due to being made redundant, we had to start asking ourselves questions like, what are we going to do? Long story short, my mum realized that she needed to downsize. And the moment she realized she needed to downsize, she was off to the place most people go, the estate agents, to ask them to help her to sell her house. And one of the things that happened is month went by, another month went by, another month went by, and the house was not sold. Now, you might be sitting there watching this right now. You might be tuned in, asking yourself, what happened? What happened? Because that's the reality when you're in that kind of distressed predicament. And the reason I say my property journey started there is because I never understood at that time when I was 11. But years later, when I turned 19 and I worked my first full-time job as an estate agent, it all started to come to the fore. This was just 7, 8 years later. But what actually happened when I was 19 is I started to understand the internal workings of the estate agency. I started to understand that estate agents, a lot of the time, is a very commission-based, commission-oriented environment. An environment where if you hit your target, there's no incentive to really sell another person's house or even sell a person's house quickly when I can hold your property till next month and get a head start on my target next month. And this was the stuff I started to see, which started to help me understand, oh, so this is probably why my mum couldn't sell her house fast enough. And that led me on a journey to start to research and study what we now know as creative property investing strategies. How to sell people's houses very quickly. How to help people with no cash to get started in property. And also how to use other people's money and generate even better returns. That was my story. That was my plight. That was what I went through in order to understand the power of property. Now, using creative property investing, there's so many things you can do. And I'll share with you a few of the things I've been able to do. I've been able to buy a property with over £100,000 in equity locked into a deal through means of great negotiation. I've been able to control over £1.4 million worth of property, which generate an annual income every single year, and so on and so on. And that is just the power. That's just the insights that you guys can get the moment you start looking at creative property investing. So I want to start us off by just sharing with you guys that little snippet for you to understand that money is not your barrier. I started with no money. I started with very few experiences in terms of property, but I started with a wealth of knowledge, and I was able to use that to get investors to invest with me in order for me to invest in property opportunities. So the first principle I want you guys to write down, for those of you who are here, for those of you who are with us, for those of you who are thinking, how do I build a recession-proof property investing portfolio? The first answer is you have to start with creativity. Now, I'm going to pass it on to Dana. Dana, tell us, what do you think? You know, I know we've been speaking a little bit before the show. What do you think is really the key for people to start to build their recession-proof property investing journey? Over to you, Dana.
Thank you so much, Samuel. Thank you so much for sharing the story about what happened with your mum when you were 11 and her being made redundant. I don't think that is something I've heard from you before, and that's a really nice tie-in to me actually speaking about probably the most untapped, underutilized, underserved, really key secret weapon in building your recession-proof business and portfolio in the property world, and that is your personal brand, and very importantly, your personal story. And the reason why your personal brand and personal story is so very important is that most people that we come across are quite cynical, right? So you're investing, you're building a property portfolio. The assumption that most people are going to make is that you're doing that purely for monetary reasons. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but people buy from people they like, that they trust, and that they build a relationship with. So hearing a story, for example, such as Samuel's, where, you know, one of his very early memories in his formative years was that experience of his mum being made redundant, means that this person understands that property isn't what Samuel does, property who Samuel is. And most of us worry about, you know, websites we're going to put one together. We worry about, you know, raising money. We worry about how we're going to get a mortgage, how we're going to maintain these properties. Are we going to do rent to rent? Are we going to get a bank loan? Are we going to get investors on board? But the key thing in everything I've just said is relationships.
Powerful.
Now, somebody who was without capital and without money, but great relationships, will find their way to capital and money. So that personal brand and that personal story is so very, very important. But let's take it a step back. Today, guys, you're just going to get more unfiltered data. I ain't got time. We know there's madness been going on in the world. Rest in peace, DMX. Rest in peace, Richard, the young man who was found in Epping Forest this week. If we haven't learned over the past year that time not waiting for us, and that the last year hasn't shown us that, I really don't know how, like Samuel said, how we're going to help you guys move forward. Unfortunately, 6 days after I last appeared on the Impact Show, I lost my mother-in-law very, very suddenly. We weren't expecting it. And that was nearly 3 weeks ago. Again, another reminder that time isn't sitting here waiting for us. So right now, there are two types of people in the property world. One is looking at the world and looking at COVID-19 and looking at the bank balance or their equity and saying, now's not the time to really grow my portfolio. All of these things are going on in the world. Let me just kind of sit back. Now, the second type of person is thinking to themselves, hang on, I'm an investor. I want to grow my portfolio. Really, I'm in the business of helping people solve problems. And right now, there's a bag of people who have got even more problems. So if I can package and myself and make the relationships with the right people, then there are a lot of people out there that I can go and help and serve. So firstly, you've got to make a decision and decide, am I the person that's going to sit back right now and wait until the world goes back to normal? I don't think there's ever going to be such a thing. Or am I going to decide, actually, this is the best time in living history to grow my property portfolio? Because never have there been so many people all over the UK, Northern Ireland, all over the world who have property problems that I can solve. So the mindset, guys, is always going to come first. You can give someone with a poor mindset the best strategies, contact, they can have equity, they can have money to put down, but they just simply won't follow through with the strategy. So make a decision that you're going to be the second person that sees that this is the best opportunity that there ever has been to grow and expand your property portfolio. Now I'm going to come back to your personal brand and your personal story. The reason I always tell people about the fact that I came from difficult circumstances, I was a teenage mother, I experienced homelessness, I took up my first directorship position at the age of 25, I've opened and closed businesses, is because what I'm trying to do is elicit to the person that's listening or the people that are listening that this is who I am, not what I do. I've had a life full of challenges, solving those challenges, solving problems, overcoming problems, thinking creatively and building things very, very, very successfully. So then people kind of are like, okay, this is someone that I can go to help me solve my problems. So recently started working with a lady who's a property investor and really speaking to her about, well, what's your brand? What's your story? And she said, oh, well, I don't really have one. That's ridiculous. Every single one of us has got a story. Now, it turns out that very recently, one of the estate agents that is managing her properties contacted her. Do you know, properties are at such a good spec, and you've really made sure that the standard is higher than what the average standard would be, that we're actually going to put the rent up for you.
Wow.
So we've now created a whole personal brand and a whole story that when this person is now contacting investors, reaching out to buyers and sellers, reaching out to people who they've got relationships with, I'm the person that's going to overspec your property for you, look after your property for you, and have estate agents calling you and calling in, telling, actually, we're going to put them up. Because really, that is the type of person that we want in the property world, guys. I'm sure you'd all agree. Someone that actually cares about the people that are living in these properties and these homes, and that is going to spec them up to such an extent where actually the property is now enhancing that person's life. So as I said, I believe that is looking at your personal brand is the single biggest secret weapon that every single person, no matter whether you're just starting out and you don't have any property yet, or whether you're an experienced property investor that has hundreds and hundreds and thousands of units, that personal story and your ability to relate to people. On the last episode that I was on, I spoke about how I really detest the fact that we talk about certain skills as soft skills, right? The ability to be able to connect, to communicate, to empathize with people, to build those relationships means that you get attention. We all know that money follows attention. And guys, I hope that you're taking notes. You are only going to remember about 10% of what you see, hear, and experience this evening. You have a wealth of knowledge in Paul and Samuel that you need to be taking action on. Time up now on the pontificating. Time up now on the procrastination, because really procrastination is just a byproduct of you being fearful and anxious.
That's right.
The thing that's going to drive you out of you taking some sort of action. So look at your riches, your value, how you can help people doesn't exist outside of you, it exists inside of you. There will be key themes that have come up across your life. There will be key points, inflection points, where certain things have happened in your life. That is your purpose. That is why you are here. Too many of us are too busy trying to look at what he, she, they, them are doing, what the next big thing is. The next big thing is you, because you're standing on a mountain of your own value. But because we're not taught to intrinsically value ourselves, look at our own story, history, yeah, we value everything else. We value material possessions and university certificates and all of these things. Every single person who's listening in live now, who's participating now, all of the people that are going to be watching this replay, you have expertise in multiple things. But unfortunately, life hasn't shown you that you're an expert in many things. Pick something, look at your life, look at the problems you've overcome, the things that you've done, yourself, how you've helped yourself, how you've helped other people. You brand that up, you package that up into a story, and that is worth thousands, tens of thousands, potentially millions.
Wow. You know when you get to a space where you're just like, pause, like just the whole live stream just needs to pause. Like, Dana, do you know what you just said? Like, okay, guys, I don't know if you are watching this or if you are just playing this in the background, but if you are like me and you've got a notepad, iPad, tablet, stylus, pen, pencil. I remember a coach saying to me years ago, he said, Samuel, a short pencil is better than a long memory. Dana just told you this, guys. She said, you're going to retain 10% of the information being shared here. Dana has said, look, you are on this live stream with people who have a wealth of value for you. Make sure you're taking notes. Listen, I spoke about creativity, but come on, Dana, the personal brand.
I'm taking my notes.
The personal brand. Check this out. Dana says, you are the next best thing. You are the next big thing. Why are you looking out for the next big thing? You see, when I first got into property, there was this syndrome we used to speak about. We used to call it the shiny penny syndrome. You get into property, first thing you want to do is buy a house, buy to let. Then after that, you say, oh, you know what? These guys are doing development. I want to do development. Then you say, oh, no, the cash flow is killing it if you do service apartments. I want to do service apartments. And you see these people. I got coaching clients and students like this. And you have to really help their mind shift out of that place to start to understand, no. I can make things happen myself. I can do this myself. I need to have my direction. And I just feel like the fuel and the fire you've just set, Dana, by helping those people also understand, listen, I don't just have to do it myself. I don't just have to have my own direction, but I have to understand who I am. What is my story? Where do I come from? How do I connect and create empathy with those people going through distress? That is powerful. That is extremely powerful. I don't even know what to say. Dana, thank you so much. Guys, I hope you're taking notes. If you're not taking notes, go get that pen. Go get that paper. Don't deceive yourself and don't let yourself down, because tomorrow when you're saying, oh, what did that lady say? Listen, don't be that person. Don't be that person. Dana, again, I just want to thank you for setting us off on such a high note in terms of shifting into that gear, speaking about the power of the personal brand. Now, look, with Dana saying that, we're going to now shift to Paul. Paul, how do these people build a recession-proof portfolio? What do they need to do? What do they need to do? Where do you see the key for people who are really keen and interested in building a recession-proof portfolio? Over to you, Paul.
First and foremost, I'm blown away by Dana. I mean, that was so powerful what she delivered there. You know, when you said take a pause,
yes,
I did actually take a pause, and I'm taking notes.
I love that.
Like, that was so powerful, Dana, and thank you so much for that delivery. And also, sorry for the loss of your mother-in-law. I mean, it's amazing that you can be here tonight with us and still giving so much value and adding to the audience despite, you know, your recent loss. And interestingly, just to add to my own personal brand, I lost my dad in 2003, and that was the catalyst for me jumping out of my 9-to-5 and really accelerating my growth into doing my own thing, setting up my finance business. I had another business that we grew to a turnover of £2 million. I had 90 staff, and it went to ashes. So sometimes out of adversity, what looks like a bad situation can actually be a godsend and the start of something quite amazing. And that was the turning point for me in my life. The other important thing that you said there, Dana, was the know, like, and trust, and the relationships that you have with people. And that's going to be an important part of growing your property portfolio. You need to have a good rapport. People need to know you, like you, and trust you. So you're going to come into contact with vendors, people that are selling their properties. You want to build up a nice rapport with them so that they know you, they like you, and they trust you. They trust you to be able to do what you say you're going to do if you're making an offer on their property, using the creative strategies that Samuel's referring to and he can teach you about. You need to be likable and build rapport with investors so that they will part with their cash and you can get them better returns. And they need to trust that you know what you're doing, and they can work with you on a long-term basis. The professionals, be it estate agents. No offense to any estate agents, but I don't quite see them as professionals, but I love them still. Estate agents, solicitors. Your solicitor is very important in the transaction.
Powerful.
Your mortgage broker, and obviously your contractors. You know, the way that I've made money in property is you buy, you add value, you refinance. So your contractors, you need to have a good relationship with them, and also they need to know, like, and trust you also. They need to trust that you're going to pay them when they finish the job, and they've got to like you so that they don't put your job off to go to somebody else's job because, you know, they're having problems there. Relationships are so important in all aspects of this property journey. Now, how do you build a recession-proof portfolio? The key is the deal. Now, a lot of people, again, Dana made reference to it. They're procrastinating. They're looking at, well, the market's going to fall. The market's going to do this. I'm going to sit on the sidelines. I'm going to wait. You mustn't wait. You know, a deal has to make sense on day one. And if it makes sense on day one, then you do the deal. And there is a method and a strategy towards that, how to value stuff, how to look at it and values. There is a way to do that so that you know, when I'm buying a property, I know on day one, when I'm exchanging, I'm celebrating because I'm already making money. We never buy on hope value. So it doesn't matter. There's only two times that the price of a property matters. It's the day you buy it and the day you sell it. And if you're doing things right, you're not really looking to sell anyway. So prices will go up and down. The market will go up and down and around with that boom and bust. It's historic. It happens. As long as on day one, that deal makes sense and it cash flows in a way that's sufficient for you, then you do the deal. Now, there's a strategy that I'm using at the moment where it requires less deposits. And it's something, if you negotiate well when you're buying property, or you can I hate to use the term below market value, but you are effectively buying below market value because the value of anything is the price you pay for it. But sometimes you can buy at a price that is below. And if you know how to negotiate well, and that's something that we're all experienced in here on the panel here tonight, if you know how to value things and you know how to negotiate, then there is a way that we can finance things in order to lower your deposit need up front. You can then save that money for your refurbishment. It's a powerful strategy right now. And it's all about, this is why having a good rapport with your builders, because it's all about how quickly you can turn things around. But the environment that we're in now is a case of there is fear in the market. Where there's fear, there is opportunity. So now is the time. Time is always now. When it comes to property investment, the time is always now, not tomorrow. It would have been nice if you'd have started 20 years ago like I did, but that doesn't matter. in 20 years' time, what you pay for something will look like it did 20 years ago. And that is the power. You need to act right now and take action. And the key to success and building that portfolio is taking massive action. It's not going to come to you. You've got to speak to investors. You've got to be out there looking. You've got to be, searching for these deals in a way that, again, I'm sure everybody on the panel here can show you. There is a method to everything, and it's just about consistent performance and having the right approach to doing things and knowing how to value stuff. So that's the key to building a portfolio. It's just taking massive action and getting started now.
Come on, Paul. Listen, guys, I don't know. If you haven't hit that like button, I got to take these glasses off, guys, because I'm now seeing in 3D as a result of what Paul shared, as a result of what Dana shared. Guys, if you have not hit that like button, I don't know what kind of stuff you like. You must like EastEnders, so this must not be the show for you. But let me say this, guys. We have just hit the Richter scale as it pertains to value. Paul, I was just gobbling those notes, buying, adding value, refinancing, looking at different ways to make things happen. And guys, look, I hope you heard Paul said he's currently using a strategy. Okay, he's currently, not last week, not next week, he's currently using a strategy which allows reduced deposits. Now, let me share this with you. I said when I spoke about creativity that money is not a barrier. I got my man Atanas in the chat. He has written in the comment, money is not a barrier at all. At all. Guys, let me tell you something. Paul has just shared, and let me ask you this. If you're a human being who understands that there are strategies where you can reduce your initial inlay, you can reduce the deposit you're using to get into a deal, then surely you now understand exactly what I mean when I say money is not a barrier. Guys, I want someone to give us some virtual hand claps in the chat, because what Paul was breaking down, guys, if you start to utilize this stuff, this will push you further, faster in your property investing journey. Guys, we need to get serious. Paul ended up by speaking about taking massive action. Guys, let me ask this. I want to be real, because I love the live audience. This is one of the reasons why I do live shows, and the reason I do these live shows as well is because I used to host one of the largest property networking events in the UK, over 100 people on a month-to-month basis, and I get a buzz from connecting with people. So tell me this, guys. Tell me this. If you were listening to Paul, if you were listening to Dana, I've even got comments in the chat. I'm going to come to these comments in a moment. If you've been listening to the speakers that we've brought on, what I want you to do is let us know in the chat if you are going to take action. If you are someone who's going to take action, I want to see the letter A in the chat. Let me see the letter A in the chat. Guys, I'm telling you, I've got that energy right now because I'm actually listening to this stuff and understanding that my negotiation skills, my historical engagements and experience allows me, as Dana was talking about, to present myself as unique, to present myself as a brand that nobody else is. And the moment I can present myself as a brand that nobody else is, no one else can compete with, I become the best because I'm the best me. And the moment I'm the best me, I can now go into a transaction. I can now speak to a motivated seller, a distressed seller, and share empathy because I've got truth in terms of my history and transition through that into turning that into a deal. Now, like Paul said, if I got the strategy as well, come on, you can't lose. If I've got the strategy as well, then I can't lose. And guys, this is what we want for you guys. We want you guys to win. This is why we're here. Now listen, guys, for those of you who want to connect with us, in the description of this video, I'm just throwing it out there. There are links in the description of this video to connect with Dana personally, to connect with Paul personally, to connect with me personally. Guys, do not be the person who doesn't take action. Let me see if I see those A's in the chat. I've got much value, much value. Let me get everyone on. I need to get everyone on. Guys, we are all coming on because I want to share with you guys some of the comments people are saying here right now. Let's jump straight in. All right, Dana, firstly to you. My man Callum Baloka is in the chat. He says, Dana is giving more value than I expected. I got KTR in the chat. KTR says, much value, okay? I've got Mark in the chat. Mark's got value with so many E's, guys. I don't even know if we can still call that value. All right, and we've got Marnie Daily. Marnie Daily, let us know if you're new to the stream. If you are, just write the word new in the chat and we can welcome you. Marnie says, appreciate this, guys. Thank you, guys. Let me tell you something, all right? we are not just here for ourselves. Dana made a powerful statement, and I want to share it again. Dana said, you know what? When somebody understands why you do what you do, they will know you're not just doing property for money. You're doing property because it's a part of you. And guys, those of you who have been following me for some time, you know significantly that property is actually a part of who I am. It's in my DNA, guys. I'm one of those people. You cut me, I'm bleeding property. And the reason why is because my property journey is intrinsically linked to the philanthropy that I do and I will go on to do in terms of giving back. So guys, again, I'm really digging what Dana shared with us. I'm really digging what Paul shared with us. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to throw out a question which I want all of us to touch on. So again, I'm open to whoever goes first. I don't really mind. But that question is, why COVID-19? That's effectively the question, because we're a year out. This is the 1 year anniversary. We've been running this show for a whole year due to lockdown, pandemic, virus, vaccinations, and all of that stuff. But the reality is, why COVID-19? Why do we now think this is the biggest property opportunity that there's ever been? That's the question I'm asking. And again, it's an open question. Dana spoke about brand. I've spoke about creativity. Paul spoke about it's actually the deal. So my question is, why COVID-19? What makes COVID-19 better than the 2008, 2009 recession? Better than the times gone past, the noughties, etc.? Why COVID-19? Who wants to go first? I can go first. I'm ready to go as well, guys. You can tell I'm pumped. I got the Lucozade running in me. All right, I'll go first. All right, guys, I want to share this with you because we're asking this question, why COVID-19? And I want to let you guys know this. Both Paul and Dana have alluded to this already, and I just want to emphasize this so anyone who's viewing this understands the importance and the significance of the time we're in right now. Paul just said, now is the time, not tomorrow, not yesterday, now is the time. Listen to this. COVID-19 has been the different effect on our market. Okay, now all the effects we've had on the market, there's a cycle in property. People who know about that understand that. People who've been following the show understand that. There's a cycle in property. Every 8 to 18 years, there is a correction that takes place in the property market. In 2008, 2009, we saw that correction, okay? People called it the credit crunch, credit crisis, etc. A few years before that, we saw that again, okay? Now, when you look at history, you start to understand, hold on a minute, these crashes are not actually random. These crashes actually happen as a byproduct of the market cycle. But why COVID-19? This is why COVID-19. COVID-19 is the first economic crash that has actually taken place, which isn't a byproduct of the financial market. It's a byproduct of a health market. It's the byproduct of a different ecosystem outside of finances. So Dana alluded to this earlier and said, look, this is a time where people are afraid. Guys, let me tell you something. There are more people afraid, more people choosing to sell up their houses because of financial issues, because of, in America, it will be called the stimulus check for my American viewers. But for those of you who are here in the UK, the furlough process that's running out, there's not going to be enough checks forever, guys. I hope you understand that. So the reality is when you start to understand that we're in a climate where finances are dire for so many people, you will straight away start to realize, hold on a minute. So you're telling me the guy who owns that pub, which is worth 500K, who hasn't been able to open his pub for the last 12 months. Hello, somebody. This is the 1 year anniversary. Hello. Who hasn't been able to open his pub for a whole year. And because he hasn't been able to open his pub for a whole year, he's made no revenue for a whole year from that particular business. Are you telling me that he's not potentially considering offloading the pub, getting rid of the pub, which someone like you or I could come in if you're a bit more experienced, buy that pub, refurbish that pub, like Paul said, have a quick turnaround, produce from that pub a set of flats, refinance that, walk away with way more money than any other residential deal you've done before? It's possible, guys. So for me, that's my little 2 pence. Why COVID-19? Because the fear is at an all-time high and it's not engineered predominantly by the finances. So most people are going to be comfortable with being afraid right now. Most people are going to understand why they're afraid and it's going to make sense to them. But for us, we're not looking at that in order to move forward. We're looking at providing a solution to their problem, which also produces a benefit for us also. So I'm going to pass it on. Who wants to go next in terms of why COVID-19? Why is this the key time for property in terms of people moving forward? We go to Dana. Dana, over to you, if you're with us still. Yeah.
I don't mind jumping
Yes,
in.
we can hear you.
Just in a mic check.
You might have frozen, but over to you. Hold. Cool.
Excellent. So I just jotted down a couple of notes actually, and I've that excellent question. So why COVID-19 and why do we believe that this is the biggest property opportunity that ever has been? And I actually just jotted down a few notes, and I've been thinking about this obviously ever since I knew that I was going to be on this episode. I believe that the number one reason why this is a golden age for property, and people will look back that didn't jump on and expand and grow and kick themselves. The number one reason is fear. Because when people become fearful, they move into an emotional state of being as opposed to being in a logical state of being. Now, the two, when they're in harmony, when they coalesce, is extremely powerful, right? Fearful people don't think things through in terms of where they are now and where they want to be. They act out of their kind of primal reptilian brain, and your primal reptilian brain is only there to survive. That's it. Right? It's not there to help you actualize your goals or thrive or really make sure that you're thinking this thing through. Your primal brain purely exists so that, you know, if you were on the Serengeti and there's some lions and tigers, you're not going to get yammed by the lions and tigers. That is it. So there are many people out there who, if they could think a little bit less emotionally, a little bit more logically, they would have to come up with the strategies to help through this period, right? I want to take this down to a really, really, really base level. For those of us who are in property, in business, in the business of serving others, regardless of what that looks like, our job is to help people solve problems. The bigger the problem, the more complex the problem, the more both parties stand to gain. And this is a win-win scenario. So Samuel spoke about the person who's had a pub who hasn't had any revenue for a year. There are, you know, people with very large portfolios right now who are dumping and who are offloading their properties into the market, especially commercial units. The other reason why I believe that this is a golden age for property is because so many people are at home. So many people are reevaluating how they're now going to be living their lives moving forward. You've got big corporate organizations who, instead of using the generic, we're going to have all of these very high paid, expensive offices, for example, people are just kind of trying to offload and thinking about how can I reduce my liabilities. So that means for anyone who's able to work creatively with these individuals, be that doing a rent to rent, a lease agreement, buying, selling, drawing down equity, etc., there are a lot of opportunities. The next reason I believe is a golden age is because interest rates are so low at the moment. So if you are in the market for borrowing, remortgaging, this is an absolutely fantastic time. Just in my notes, my whole thing is, whenever there is a crash, a problem, a challenge in the economy, look at how the banks start to behave, right? Now, individuals that have lots of mortgages with the bank, the bank is having very different conversations with them than, for example, if someone's got thousands of units. If you've got thousands of units right now, the bank is talking about, let's help you through this scenario. If you don't have thousands of units, maybe you're in single digits or just into double digits, 20, 30. The conversation when people get stuck is very, very, very different. So there is an oversupply of people right now who need help, who are in genuine distress, or if the right offer was to come along, they would think about it. So the person with the pub, for example, all of these things make it just a perfect time and a perfect petri dish for even the newest person to come into the industry and choose somewhere where they're going to carve themselves out. So they might choose hoteliers or people that run pubs or the residential industry to really come in their mark. Warren Buffett, who's one of the best investor that's ever lived, always says, when people are selling, you buy. When people are buying, you're selling. Always do the opposite of what most people do, because most people act out of fear. They're not in their right mind and they're not thinking properly. So if we marry the ability to solve somebody's problem genuinely, providing a great service to them, not scamming people, ripping them off, whatever, I think we need to get our minds into the right groove, into the right gear, into the right place, that those of us who are ethically minded, those of us who genuinely want to help people, we actually have a moral obligation, responsibility, and duty to help as many people as we can. Because right now, the unscrupulous people in the world, they got no barriers. They're not trying to be out here helping anybody. They're trying to rip people off, scam people off, right? And this is a really a point of good character versus bad character. People of good character that have more will do more good.
That's right.
People of bad character that have more will do more bad. It just is. So we really need to move this needle and move this narrative forward about, money and all of these things, all the hang-ups that we have about money being the root of all evil and all of this rubbish. It's your moral duty and obligation, if you have a solution to people's problems, to offer it to as many people as you can service at a quality level. So let's get up in the game and understand that there are people out there. There are people's marriages who are going down the Swanee right now, right? Finance is the number one reason they're divorced. We have who in place in unspeakable things like taking their own lives right now because they've got all of these liabilities on their hands. They've gone from a position where everything's quite rosy to now not knowing if they're going to be able to make their next meal, let alone the next month. Powerful. And we're all out here in our feelings thinking, oh, should I, shouldn't I? We have a big problem with men committing suicide. Suicide is the number one killer of men, especially young men underneath 35. 84 men a week in this country take their own life. It should be a national outcry, but it isn't. And most of those men have got to a place where they just can't see any way out. And a lot of those are for financial reasons. I remember speaking to somebody who tried to take their life 3 times because of financial reasons. Came to this country, wanted to do better for him and his family, and it all flopped. The man was determined. He left his house 2:00 in the morning. He picked a secluded spot because the second time he tried, somebody found him. And on the third occasion, he was determined that no one was going to find him. But obviously the Most High was looking over him that day. Somebody spotted him at 2:30 in the morning, and he didn't go through with what he was going to go through with. So guys, there's people out there that need us, that need our help. Get out of your own way. Stop mithering, stop majoring over minor things, and just pick up the phone, speak to people, help people, right? That is what we are here for. And if you help as many people as you can get what they want, and you are genuine, and you're doing it because you know that you can solve their problems genuinely, you will also be richly rewarded. Powerful.
That's so powerful, Dana. It's like even listening to you, it feels like you're really resonating with the social justice aspects in terms of why people need to be doing property. There's people who, like you said, are financially in disarray due to the current scenario. They have no idea what they're going to do. They have no idea what to do next. They have no idea what's the way forward. And as a result, it's our moral obligation as ethical property investors to be out there helping those people to offload their property, helping those people to rent their properties out fast, whatever the strategy may be, in order to push those people forward. So Dana, again, thank you ever so much. Paul, let's go over to you. Why COVID-19? Why do you think now is the kind of key time in terms of people transitioning in the post-COVID-19 view in order to invest in property?
I just have to say wow, because what she's delivering is so no, it's not a problem coming after. I mean, she's a hard act to follow, with the value that she's delivering, but I'm going to go for it anyway. It's amazing what she said there, and it is very important. The key thing that I heard what she said is some people have a really poor relationship to money, like money's evil or making a profit is a bad thing.
Yep.
It isn't. And what's so powerful about what she said is you do need to get out there and help people.
Yep.
And you're not trying to rip anybody off by helping them. If that's your intention, then you're going to get short shrift. You're not going to last very long in the market.
That's right.
If you're out there genuinely trying to help people to provide win-win solutions, it's not a problem for you to make a profit. It's okay. Yeah. And it's also okay for you to help them. So there are win-win solutions to a lot of people's problems. And that was so powerful what she said.
Agreed.
I love that Warren Buffett quote. I think it goes along the lines of be brave when everybody's fearful and be fearful when everybody's brave. My old adage from the 90s is we buy when there's blood on the streets, which is a little bit more brutal. That's the reality. When it's fearful and everything looks like it's going to pop is when you should be getting out there and buying, because everybody else is panicking and selling. So I've got a couple of practical points to make of why I think this is a great opportunity right now. And I've been through a couple of recessions. I've been through the first one or the last one that most people remember in 2008-9, which was more of a financial crash. That was a shortage of cash. And the banks just stopped lending. Nobody knew. It was a case of musical chairs. Who's carrying all the bad debt? Well, the answer was everybody was carrying bad debt. So the banks didn't want to lend to one another. And money stopped flowing in the economy. What they've learned from that is to keep the cash moving, they've cut interest rates and they've printed an extortionate amount of money. So the practical points that I want to make why is and now is a good time is the government has literally just magically pumped the best part of £600 billion into the economy. Now, I'm not an economist, but if you understand a little bit about economics, if you produce more money for the same amounts of goods and services that are available, prices go up, you get inflation. So regardless of how expensive things look now, inflation is going to push asset prices up, and property is standard. Like everybody has has some sort of property angle, whether you're a commercial business with offices, with staff, whether you're a pub, hotel, leisure, whatever. There is asset prices will go up because they've printed so much money. Now, why is Samuel referred to it with the furlough scheme or the Biden stimulus package of nearly $2 billion, or was it $2 trillion? The US print money like it's come like there's no tomorrow. The amount of money that's going into the system and the furlough scheme, when that injection, when that shot of Red Bull wears away, we're going to start to see the real pain. And again, as Samuel alluded to, there are businesses that have been shut. People's jobs have been kept alive, but now they're going to start to feel some pain and things need to adjust to this new environment. So there are going to be many people to help, be it business owners, landlords. Dana mentioned divorce rates. People are having to be together. We've been on a lockdown and stuck at home together, and people are starting to realize, actually, I don't like my partner. And it's I'm chuckling, but it's not really that funny. Domestic violence has been up and divorce rates are up also. So people are splitting up. There are opportunities in the residential world. Also, buy-to-let landlords. There's been a tenant eviction ban for the best part of 6 months or a year. So the backlog in the courts is going to be ridiculous to evict tenants. So there's going to be landlords also that maybe have not been receiving rent, and they're going to be keen to sell. Maybe they've been in the market for 5, 10, 15 years. They've made their money. I've had enough of this game. I'm just going to take my money and get out. They're not going to be so concerned about getting top dollar on their property. So that's another reason why now is a good time. legislation, because of all of the businesses being shut for the best part of a year and not being able to take any money. The government's pumped all of this money in, some of it's loans, some of it's grants. Those loan payments are going to start to kick in. But the government's changed the legislation for planning to make it easier to convert certain commercial businesses. So that is another big opportunity in the market. So those are just a couple of things. And look, to be successful in anything, you need three main things. You need the idea, you need commitment, and you need the resources. Now, the idea, what we're saying here is property. It makes sense. There's a business sense. There's a social justice reason for doing it. There's a commercial profit reason for doing it. So, and there's a long-term investment reason for doing it. You need the commitment. Take action. Commit to getting into this property industry in some shape or form. Make that commitment. And then you need the resources. The resources are the knowledge, the people around you, be it investors, be it mentors, be it your professional team, your tradesmen. You need the resources around you to make it all happen. Everything is there. Either you're going to be somebody who waits and sits on the sidelines, or you get involved and get in and take action right now. The universe works in mysterious ways. When you start walking towards something, the universe tends to bring you everything that you need. I've gone into property deals in the past where I didn't even know where the money was coming from. I just saw the deal. I saw the opportunity. And as I walked towards it, things just started to happen and the money came. I've done some really creative deals in the past where I started out just looking at the deal. So take action. That's the main thing that you should take from today. Be creative, take action, make a commitment to be successful and to get involved. You will make mistakes. Of course, we all do. I don't know everything and I still make mistakes, but I've got 20 years of knowledge of the mistakes that I've made that, I hope to give some value to people along the way. So yeah, that's what I'd add. Why now is the right time.
Powerful. Guys, listen, you lot cannot see Dana. Dana is scribbling. She is taking notes like no tomorrow. Guys, listen, let me tell you, if you are not getting value on this live show, I don't know what kind of value you're looking for. Guys, you need to hit that like button and let the world know that this is the stuff. And you know what? Do yourself a favor. Share this stuff and let someone else receive the gift of you sharing some real deep content. I got my man 4D&T in the chat who says, this is good stuff. Thank you, Paul. Good information. I asked earlier on for those people who are going to take action to give me some A's in the chat. I got A's flooding the chat. I've got triple A from Ose Kinwin. I got a whole bunch of A's coming in from Maria. Guys, I'm telling you, there are so many A's here. Again, I can't even keep up. I got KTR who throws A in the chat. Guys, those of you who are showing that you're ready to take action, my hat is proverbially off to you, because I know that you guys, if you are ready to take that action, you are going to put yourself in the best predicament in order for you to win in this current climate and beyond. Guys, Paul just dropped some nuggets there. The idea, also needing the commitment, also needing the resources. You see, Dana also shared some real key power bombs right there. Just saying, listen, guys, morally, you need to go out and do this. We've got a dilemma in our planet right now. Not just this stuff. Guys, I want you to understand this. A number of the issues we're talking about are not UK-based issues, okay? And they're not even first world-based issues. I don't like that term, but you know what I mean. They're not first world-based issues. These are global issues we're dealing with. Now, the reality is now these issues are just coming to our attention. For many of us, we didn't know about the high rate of suicide for men. For many of us, we haven't been aware of all of these things. But like Paul said, when everybody's locked up at home and the only thing you've got is news at 9, news at 10, you become very well aware of the drama taking place in your world. So guys, I want to encourage you, go out there, make it happen, use property as a vehicle, change your life. In 2017, when I was able to sack my boss and sack my wife's boss, I'm telling you, my life's never been the same ever since. So guys, let's keep pushing. I want to talk to Dana a bit more. Dana, I want you to talk to us more about this social justice. You know, what is the case for property investment? Why property investment in terms of social justice? What's your thoughts in that regard? I want you to kind of speak to that idea a bit more so people can really get a flavor of your heart in that area, and also kind of, you know, why are you passionate about that? Why do you think, you know, you spoke about one of your clients earlier in terms of her actually changing the pricing in terms of her rental receipt, in terms of her ability to receive rental at a higher level. You know, why is the social justice so important? Over to you, Dana.
Repeat that again for me, Sam. Sorry, the audio went.
That's
I
fine.
didn't hear the question.
That's fine, sis. So I was basically saying, can you speak to the audience around this ideology of social justice? Like, why does property make sense from the social justice perspective? And yeah, it's a broad open one, but why property, you know, in terms of the social justice?
For sure. Just so that I can confirm that you said social justice, yeah?
That's right.
Okay. I was about to use Samuel's key phrase, powerful, then. We've been spending a lot of time together recently, so I'm starting to sound like him. So for me, social justice is all about leveling the playing field, and having a world that is fairer for all, okay? So we know that how the economic order has been set up, and it started many, many hundreds and thousands of years ago, seeks to benefit a tiny fractional few who generally do not look like us and come from where we come from in the world, to benefit the aforementioned people that we know we are talking about, okay?
Powerful.
So when we come into these spaces, because if we're looking at property, whether it's commercial, whether it's, you know, schools, whether it's local government, whether it's residential, in an ideal world, if a country was organized, the state would take full responsibility for those key organizational buildings and residences, for example, okay? Now, because we live under a capitalist system, what would have been an ideal world where the government would have looked after us all and made sure that we had everything we need? In Agosa, as my grandmother would say, or would have said, God rest her, right? So therefore, we have to start making some choices. Are we going to allow people who are not integral, are not authentic, but don't want a fair society to everybody to run things? Or are we going to make a vested interest in that? Powerful. Because bottom line is, we've all heard of people, you know, living residentially or renting a commercial space, rent a commercial property where the landlord isn't fixing the leaks, they're not making sure the place is watertight, making sure it's safe, making sure it's secure. If anyone ever looked at the statistics, housing, be it residential or where you spend your time working, has such an impact on your overall life outcomes. And we know that because we can look at a graph, for example, of young people that live in accommodation that's overcrowded, for example, they live in accommodation that's not well maintained, and we can look at their outcomes, and we can look at young people live in places where there's adequate space, where the property is being adequately maintained, and we can look at their outcomes and there's a stark difference. So do we want to sit back and really be involved in what's positive in that scenario, or do we want to be involved in what's negative? So at the end of the day, someone's going to run these commercial properties or residential properties, governmental organizations, schools, for example. So the social justice piece is about taking charity out of the equation. I am not one for charity. Wow. I don't do down any charity that does good work. I just don't feel that charity is a total solution. So using business is to solve problems at the end of the day. Using business as a vehicle to make society a better place, where you provide a good quality service, whatever that is, for the end user, and you get adequately remunerated for that as well. I believe that one should get paid in proportion to the problems that they solve and to the amount of people that they solve those problems for. There is a reason why Bill Gates and Mark Zuckerberg and co have got what they've got and why we've got what we've got, because they're just simply serving more people. They've worked out a way how to do that. So it would be very, very, very easy for the majority of us to say, you know what, it's not necessarily my thing, but I've got a stake in my local community, the community that I come from background-wise, the countries that I represent and that I come from in the world. Because this isn't just a UK conversation. This is the conversation all over the world, especially in places like, you know, the continent of Africa, the Caribbean, for example, et cetera, massive infrastructure problems when it comes to things like housing, commercial blocks, real estate, et cetera, that we could all be playing our part in to really help make a sustainable change. So wrapping it all up, it's about doing good, providing a great service, but getting an economic return for it. For me, I think we need to remove the shadow that a lot of us have or were grown up with or inculcated with, that doing good means doing it for free or nearly next to nothing.
Powerful.
Count me out of that. Cash me outside of that 100%. There are good business, sound, economic statistics, reasoning, stats. Go and look them up. Google is your friend. As to why this model works and why the charitable model doesn't work.
That's
Paul's
powerful.
there sitting laughing at me.
No, listen. There's no one laughing at you. Everybody's laughing with you on this show. I'm telling you. Oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start. You mentioned social justice, but you just took us on a rocket into understanding the reality of business. Because what you're saying is, listen, I could do this charitably. I could rock up and say, I'm going to invest my money to make the world a better place. Or I could understand, well, hold on a minute. The constructs in the world I live in allow me to not only help people by helping them to sell their house with speed or helping them to jump into a creative solution to or creative approach on property, but it also allows me to generate a return. And there's nothing wrong with me generating a return because, like you said earlier on in the show, the more return I can generate, the more people I can help. And I really appreciate you, Dana, just sharing this concept you said that we are paid in proportion to the problems we solve and the amount of people we solve those problems for. This is what people need to start to understand. Guys, listen, investing in property is not about making more money. It's not just about sacking your spouse's boss and sacking your boss. It's about the depth of what you can actually do in your life when you can start solving problems for people, including yourself, as well as increasing the masses of people that you're solving those problems from. Guys, that's what this show's about. This show allows us to solve problems for people who are new to their property journey. I've got, is it Marnie? Marnie, who's up in the chat. He says, at the start of the property journey, please also break down the line Paul said, if they're doing property properly, then also they won't be selling. We're going to come on to the questions later on. But look, Marnie's saying here at the start of their property journey. So this is exactly what I'm talking about. You know, it's about helping more people than just yourself. It's all good having 15K a month coming in from your property portfolio and saying, I'm good. But what about the rest? What about the other people? What about the 21-year-old Samuel I can win? What about the 18-year-old Samuel I can win? What about the 14-year-old Samuel I can win? Who helps him? And this is why this show exists. So guys, let's keep pushing forward. Dana, thank you ever so much for sharing us the concept on the social justice and the importance of connecting that with property. Paul, I want to go over to you. Paul, speak to me about how property is just good business sense, because I think there's a lot of people who don't realize property is just good, straight up good business sense. And when I say that, what I mean is I get this question all the time. Oh, property or cryptocurrency, property or stocks and shares, property or guys, what, Paul, let me know, why is property just good business sense? Over to you, Paul.
Before I touch on that, I'm smiling and laughing, but Dana, believe me, it's not at you. It's because I'm agreeing with you, because I'm in that camp. Count me out of the whole free charitable stuff, and I'm just going to do everything for nothing. No, it's a no for me. Yeah, and first and foremost, you kind of need to be in a position of some strength before you can help and give back. I'm quite happy to give back and do charitable things. I do a lot of charitable things, but my day-to-day thing where I'm trying to help people and do things, I need to make money from that. So, you know, I'm high-fiving you over here, Dana. Again, yeah, it's another wow moment. Like, who is this Dana person? She's incredible. How comes I've not met you before? So, fantastic delivery. Now, property as a business and why it makes sense. It comes down to assets and liabilities. So some people have a different definition for what an asset is. Some people think their house is an asset, their car is an asset, you know, buying fancy watches is an asset, fine art is an asset. You know, these things for me are collectibles. There's a place for them. And when it comes to investment, I worked in the asset management industry for a good while. So I learned a lot actually about investing in stocks and shares and the whole investment thing. And the first rule, I also studied finance, but I'm digressing. The first rule of investment is diversification, because when you're spread wider, it diversifies risk. So when one thing's down, the other thing is up. And just to give you an example from my business life, the business that I had that was doing very well, interest rates were higher then. I don't know if anyone's old enough to remember. I'm mocking, but interest rates were going up at 5% in around 2006-07. The base rate was at 5%. Mortgage rates were at 6%. And if you took a fixed rate at 5.99, you'd consider yourself lucky. By luck or good judgment, I took tracker mortgages at that point, and then interest rates fell in 2009. The rest is history. But that business went under, and all of a sudden, my property portfolio became extremely more profitable than it already was. So that's why you might diversify. But let me go back to the assets and liabilities thing. An asset is something that generates income and gives you a cash flow. So property is a very, very simple business. And to quote Warren Buffett again, he only invests in things that he can understand, a business that he can understand. So he owns Geico Insurance. He's a heavy investor in Coca-Cola, because not only do they make Coke, but they do all of the distribution and bottling for other drinks companies. It's a very simple business. So property for us is very simple. You buy something, it's an asset. People will always need somewhere to live. So it's not like it's a business that's ever going to go out of fashion. You know, the old adage is food, clothing, and shelter. We need to eat, we need somewhere to live, and we need clothes on our back. So property as a business makes a lot of sense from a baseline, you know, Maslow's hierarchy of needs approach. Property generates an income. It's easy to calculate. It's simple to do. I say it's simple to do, but if you break it down to its simplest form, you're buying something, you're adding some value, perhaps you're refinancing it. You've got a cost, monthly cost, and you've got rent to come in. Does X minus Y equal Z? Is it positive? If it is, it's a good deal. And that goes back to why I say a deal on day one, if it makes sense, then you should do it. Because what happens in the middle, as long as it can, excuse my East London twang, but as long as it can wash its face, then, you know, it makes sense. So property as a business, if you just look at it in its simplest form, it's an income generating asset. It's there for the long term, you know, and it's a simple business to understand and do. Once you understand the rules of the game and the rules of engagement, you know, it makes sense. So, and it makes good business sense. And as I said, over time, regardless of the fact that they're not building enough houses in the first place, and they haven't done since the Conservatives sold up all their council properties in the 80s and 90s. Since that, they've not been building enough houses for the amount of people that are here. They're still behind the curve on that. There's a supply and demand issue, but even without that, the way that they're printing money, asset prices will go up. So, you know, it's a question of why wouldn't you do property, then why would you?
I think that's so powerful. The real question is, why wouldn't you do property over why would you? Paul, thank you ever so much. Listen, I just think, guys, if you're really engaging with this content that we're sharing with you right now, your mind is either blown because this is all new to you and you're thinking about it and thinking, wow, this actually makes a lot of sense. An asset is actually something that generates income and increases in value. Wow, should I be going for watches? Should I be going for cars? Should I be going for houses? Or should I actually be an investor? And one of the statements I share with people all the time is there is a difference. I want you to write this down, guys. I want everyone who's tuned in right now to write this down because I'm not joking, okay? There is a difference between property ownership and property investment. Okay, you need to write that down because you need to understand how powerful this is. I got my man Prince in the chat. He says, loving the show, great advice and content here. Thank you, Prince. Guys, you need to understand there is a difference between property ownership and property investment. Let me share something with you so you get some real deep understanding and you can start connecting a bunch of the dots we've given you today. If you understood what Dana was talking about earlier, there are people with portfolios who are going to want to exit right now. If you understand what Paul was talking about earlier, there are people with portfolios who have not been receiving rent, so because of the financial pinch want to exit right now. If you understand what we've been talking about, there are commercial business owners like pub owners like I spoke about earlier who are going to want to exit their businesses right now. If you understand all of that, add it to this concept, the fact that many of those people are not actually property investors. Many of those people are only property owners. Many of those people bought those properties to own property, not to invest in property, because sometimes it takes a long time to understand how to invest in property because they don't teach it in school. So if you understand these concepts, that puts you in a great place to start to understand, okay, so I can actually go out there and win. I don't have to go out there and lose. I don't have to go out there and try to work out if I can or if I can't. No, get the right people around you. Paul mentioned this earlier. Get a coach, get a mentor, get whatever you need. Get the right people around you, the right support. Get a strategist behind you so you can basically hit the ground running and make things happen. Guys, the value on the show is extreme. I've got Mark in the comments who says value. I got Marnie who says appreciate this, guys. I've got the comments just blowing up. I've got KTR who claps hands in the chat. We got Richard. Richard, thank you for joining us. I remember I met Richard a number of years ago. Richard says meeting you at Watford Property Investors Network in 2018 was a memorable experience. Thank you, Richard. Richard goes on to say, hey Samuel, great show. Thank you, Richard, for your comment. We got Temi in the chat who says amen at philanthropy. We got so many comments. People are just blowing up the chat and I really do appreciate this. My man Atanas, oh my gosh, he's sending for me. He says the 16-year-old Samuel I Can Win is probably collecting more than 15k a month. He doesn't need financial support. In fact, he should invest in property, and he just laughs. And like I said, my man Prince Anor is in the chat saying loving the show, great advice and content here. Now look, we've had Dana speak to you guys about the social justice piece. We've had Paul also speak to you guys about how property makes good business sense. I'm going to speak to you guys very simply right now about the historical purpose, the historical value in investing in property. Now, many people fail to understand that there is a historical element of why you need to invest in property. And I remember when I was 18 years old, I heard a coach say something extremely powerful. He said, the one thing we learn from history is that we do not learn from history. And when I heard that, I was a bit puzzled, and I showed, usually when you're puzzled, you got that puzzled face on. So my face was like a little bit puzzled. And the coach said something powerful. He said, listen, World War II happened because we didn't learn from World War I. Now listen, when you hear that, you might think, that's not the truth. You can't stop something like a world war. Listen, let me tell you something. Every soldier that picks up a sword, every soldier that picks up a gun, every soldier that picks up a grenade, every soldier that picks up any artillery is a component to the war continuing to go on. So the point I'm making is World War II did happen because we didn't learn from World War I. And it's the same. If we look historically, what do we understand about property? Well, we should understand that every time there is a recession, every time there is a market correction, there is a massive exchange of hands as it pertains to wealth. And Dana's already said, listen, guys, you don't need to be what your ancestors were. You don't need to be what your mother and father was. You don't have to be broke, okay? And when I say broke, I'm not talking about financially. Like those of you who follow me, you know how I get down. I'm not talking about as it pertains to money and wealth. You don't need to be broke. I'm talking about psychologically. Okay, you don't need to be broken psychologically thinking that you're living in a capitalistic society and you're gonna make it work by doing only philanthropy. Because guys, let me tell you something, it doesn't work like that. And Paul said a very powerful comment a moment ago. Paul basically shared, listen guys, you need to have strength. You need to have a certain level of financial strength in order for you to actually make things work and in order for you to help other people move forward as well. So guys, look, that's what I want you guys to understand. Every 8 to 12 years, we have a correction in the market. When these corrections or these crashes take place, you know what also happens? People get rich. And we want you to be one of those people who takes this opportunity in order to make that happen. Now, look, I'm going to share something with you guys. We haven't spoken about this much throughout this show so far, but I want to elaborate on this. Every investor is unique, okay? Your tax situation is going to be unique. Your gifting is going to be unique. Are you great at negotiation, or are you someone who isn't as great at negotiation, but you're more great like Paul at finding deals? Are you someone who's like Paul, great at finding deals? Or are you not like Paul? Are you someone who actually, you're good with strategy like me? Or are you someone who can really see bigger picture like Dana? Who are you? The point is, you are going to be unique. And then when you marry that with property, every property opportunity is also unique. And I want you to understand that. And the reason I'm saying that is because those two unique elements can become a great fusion if you know what you're doing. So I want to encourage you guys, listen, if you haven't already, check the links in this description. Book a call with Dana, book a call with Paul, book a call with me, book a call. So you can get to a place where you start to understand, okay, this is how it works. Okay, this is what my unique situation can materialize for me, can turn into for me if I'm focused on exactly what these guys are talking about here. So guys, look, with all of that being said, what I want to do is I want to open it up for some final thoughts. And then after we do some final thoughts, we'll take a few questions and then start to wrap up the show. Guys, we've been here giving value for over an hour and a half. So guys, I hope you appreciate my guests. Again, guys, I know it's our birthday. Cheers, happy birthday. But guys, appreciate both Paul and Dana in the chat for me, please, because guys, I'm telling you, to get on, to just give value like this means something. So guys, let's see if you guys have got questions. Throw the questions in the chat. Side by side with that, I'm going to open up the lines. Let's see if we can get at least one caller who might want to jump in. If you want to join the conversation, you can go to the link impactproperties.co.uk/live and use the password impact show. But again, we're not going to keep the line open for long. I'm just being honest with you. I think the value being shared on the show so far has been immense. So we're going to go to Paul and then we'll go to Dana. Final thoughts. Any final thoughts you have, Paul, for the community? And then straight after Paul, we'll go over to Dana. So over to you, Paul.
I'm going to take you back to the 3 points that I said to be successful in this industry. You need the idea, you need the commitment, and the resources will come to you. So take massive action. If whatever you think you need to do, multiply that by 10 and crack on and get started. And the rest will start to flow. It's amazing what happens. And, it's physics. It's very hard to move a stone and get it off its moving off a standing start. But once it's rolling, it's much easier to keep it going. Momentum is everything. And the orange one that used to sit in the hot seat in the US, Donald Trump, had a book. I've got a book of his in my library called The Art of a Deal. And he talks about just that momentum. Momentum is so important in this business. And once you get going, everything will start to flow through, and you'll be surprised how quickly you learn and how quickly you move on with things. So that's my last contribution for you.
That's powerful. Thank you ever so much, Paul. I really appreciate that. Guys, listen, take massive action. Understand you need the idea, you need the commitment, but side by side with that, those resources will also come to you. Take the massive action, take the commitment, book the call, whatever it is you need to do, you need to take that step forward. All right, over to you, Dana. Dana, any final thoughts?
Well, thank you so much, Sam, for inviting myself and Paul onto your 1 year anniversary Impact show. A round of applause. Woo, 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 woo. Keep doing the fantastic work. So just a couple of things from me, really. I've written a couple of notes here. I want to speak to people about the importance of working with professionals, working with a coach, working with a mentor. Once upon a time, after I'd been made homeless, I had absolutely no money. I didn't have enough money to get my then 5-year-old son on the bus to school. So I would walk him to school. I would walk to the local library, and I would read free books and newspapers in the local library. And those became my coaches and mentors. They got to know me so well in the library. I managed to wangle them, importing books from me from America and all over the place, right? And then I knew I had to take it up a level. And taking it up a level meant that I had to go and meet people in person when that was a thing, right? Because at the moment, really so much of a thing, but I guess we're going to go back to that. Now, I had absolutely no money. I bumped into somebody who had a cleaning company who was looking for cleaners. I put my hand up and I went and cleaned people's toilets. The first pay I got was £30. With that £30, I went and found someone who I thought could help me online and took them out for a coffee. And I've realized the more you fed people, the longer they would stay with you. The longer they would stay with you, the more you could glean from them and the more that you could learn. Bottom line is, I started with where I was, with what I had. And through meeting professionals, I then implemented what they taught me. And then I used the money that I was generating to now go and pay coaches and professionals. Most people think about the outlay and about the cost. I'm going to work with the coach, I'm going to work with the mentor, whatever. I want you guys to think about the cost of the cost if in 365 days, you're in the same place or even worse, you've gone backwards. What is the cost of that? Wow. Because working with a professional is always an investment. It's never a cost. And for most of us in areas of our life, we're wasting money anyway on various different things. Get your head in the game. A coach is going to be able to point you in the right direction, or a mentor. For me, though, one of the most valuable things that you can get from a coach or mentor is what not to do. If I'd been able to pay somebody when I was 22, 23 years old, it wouldn't have taken me a decade to learn certain things. Wow. So it's not about, how much is that going to cost me? Because I guarantee right now, if you and your brethren got stuck on the motorway and it cost £2,000 for someone to come and tow you, you would not sleep on the motorway. You would go and pull up £2,000 some way, somehow. But most of us, our money is that we are not inspired enough. I get up by 6 o'clock every single morning. Samuel knows. He gets a video from me. I'm like, yeah, these are my steps from yesterday, etc., etc. Because I'm inspired enough to do it. There's a reason why I do that. And I've gone through a process to get myself there, right? You just ain't inspired enough if you're not doing it yet. Yet being the operative word. Find something like you that's going to give you that burning desire forward. I'm not stressed. I cannot say the amount of value I've gotten over the last 15 years working with experts, professionals, business owners, coaches, mentors. And the reason why I can charge people to work with me is because I pay other people so that I can go and work with them. You have to learn to submit under the authority of somebody else before you can be in a position of authority. That's right. I'll say that again. You have to learn how to submit to the authority of somebody else before you can be in a position of authority. And by a position of authority, I mean where you want to be in life. The universe, the Most High Creator, whatever you believe in, God, Buddha, is not going to put you in a space that you are not ready to occupy. So if you can't submit to somebody else, understand they're going to take you to places that on your own you can't go, then my friend, it's not going to work. Powerful. So think about, if I don't invest, if I don't do this, if I don't move forward, and we're a year's time, what is that going to cost me? Rather than worrying about the front end cost to work with somebody. So that's the first thing. I just want to go over what someone said about the fact that they learned about philanthropy this evening. We need to make a really slight course correction. And if I wasn't clear, let me make myself clear. I'm not into philanthropy. I'm not into supporting. I'm into being a consumer of businesses that are making an impact in the world so that they can carry on the good work. Because consumerism is the only thing, when it's positive, that's going to help us move forward. You know, my heart is for working with Black businesses. I don't support Black businesses. I pay my money. because then that enables them to carry on their activities. That enables to make an investment in their business, their staff, to train people, to give a job and economic opportunities to others. Too many of our businesses are one-man bands, two-man bands, three-man bands. In Nagosa is no.
That's right.
There are people out here who are running multi-million corporations with 4 or 5 people working full time.
That's right.
Yeah. Second to last thing, I want you to go away from here. And if you've got your 10-year plan in place, look at it. If you haven't got a 10-year plan in place, go and get one. Because the only people that are going to end up where they want to be in 10 years' time are those that planned to be there. I don't care if you don't know what you're going to do. Keep asking yourself how, and you're going to find out. One of the things I always say when I work with my clients is go and do a 20-year plan. They come back. We look at the 10-year plan. And then I say to them, how are we going to do what you've set to do in the next 10 years? How can we do that in the next 6 months? Now, we're probably going to flop. We probably are. But the minute you get someone to really change their focus and work on the 10-year plan in the next 6 months, we completely change the game. So the last thing I wanted to say is thank you so much to everybody for listening. DMs are always open on Instagram. So my first and last name, Byfield, Dayna Byfield. I'm sure Sam's going to drop the details under the video as well. It's open. Come and ask me questions. I want to help. I want to help grow people that want to grow people and that want to make a great impact in the world. I am also the founder and head coach of Renegade Business. We help entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, and investors grow their business and portfolio so that they can continue making an impact in the world. We do that a few different ways through business development, business advice, consultancy, and also working on personal development and growth. We also recently launched our own in-house executive assistant service. It's really geared towards entrepreneurs who are, still got their hand in the pie of things that they really don't have any business doing. So we employ geniuses that can help you work on your business, administration, that type of thing, so that you can keep in your area of genius and hire and work with as many people as possible. We also do joint ventures and promotions, team building training, and also personality testing, which is really, really, really important. When you're moving forward, you want to know the types of people that are working in your organization, where you're at, and what you need to do to move forward. So as Paul said, take massive action. Stop behaving like you're always going to have tomorrow, because tomorrow may never come. That's right. I believe in you, your ability to do so much more. Most of us are not working very much past 40% of our potential. You are the value. You have a mountain of value that is within you that you are standing on, and you have a moral obligation and ethical duty, if you can help solve other people's problems, to go out there and absolutely smash it.
Powerful. Like, Dana, so many points. Come on. So powerful. Like, even from the top, guys, from the top, Dana said, listen, she didn't have the money to transport her child to where the child needed to go. She ended up putting her hand up saying, I need help. I'll work in this position for some cash. From getting some cash, she then said, you know what? This is not the value to me. The value is the knowledge, the understanding, the insight, the ability to be able to change my circumstance. So I will invest this in order to get what I need. And that is exactly what Dana has done. And that's why Dana now is giving you this value, because Dana has absorbed years upon years of information, insights, and value from other people that were leaders in their own right. And now she can present herself as a leader onto our community in order to help us move further, faster in our journeys. Also, guys, listen, let me just say this. This is a shameless plug. If you are a business owner and you are challenged, you're struggling, you're juggling email, let me put it that way. Guys, go holler at Dana. Okay, I've been working with one of her executive assistants over the last couple of days. Guys, go holler at Dana. Okay, it don't take long to observe value. Just go holler at Dana and the Be Renegade organization, because I'm telling you guys, you need the help. You might not even know you need the help, but you need the help, and I found that for myself in my own business over the last couple of days. Dana, thank you ever so much. And guys, Paul, let us know also, Paul, how can the people connect with you? How can the people kind of find out where you're at? How can the people know more about how they can speak to you in terms of moving forward as well? Guys, like I said, all the links are in the description, but you know, I'm going to still give Paul the opportunity to let you guys know how you can connect with Paul also.
Thank you, Samuel. So if you want to connect with me, I'm always open my DM. My website is paulanthonyroberts.com. You can find all my socials on there. On Instagram, if you search Paul Anthony Roberts, they'll come up there. Same for Facebook, LinkedIn. You know, connect with me on whichever platform that you're operating in. If you've got questions around mortgages or property, you're looking for a mentor. I help people. I've recently set up a property tax consultancy to go with alongside, you know, the property finance and the property investment. So if you've got any questions around property, tax is so important, and it's individual. I know there's a lot of buzz around buying in a limited company right now, but it might not be right for everybody. So, you know, that is how you connect with me, and those are the services that I offer. So paulanthonyroberts.com. From there, you can kind of find all the links that you need. And there's also a link in the YouTube description below, and to connect to a program that we're putting together.
Excellent. Awesome.
Thank you, Sam.
All right, most welcome, Paul. Look, listen, guys, please help me on our 1 year anniversary of the show. Just give a great big round of applause and appreciation digitally through the live chat to both Paul Roberts and also Dayna Byfield. Guys, look, let me tell you something. I rub shoulders with these people, and the reason I rub shoulders with these people is because these people are the kind of people that will change your life. Now, they're going to say the same thing about me, I know, but listen, the reality is you need to do the same. All right, I'm being honest. I heard earlier on, Paul, like on a more mellow note, when I heard you speak about the creativity you use, when I heard you speak about deals you've gone into and not know where the money was, I was laughing. Some of those who are watching will know I was laughing. I was giggling because I was remembering the block of flats that were bought, and I remember how you bought the block of flats, and I remember you were sitting in the auction, not necessarily with the cash in the pocket, but knowing I can make this happen. And this is the thing. This is what Dana's talking about. This is what I've been talking about. This is what Paul's talking about. Guys, let me tell you something. What you need a lot of the time is not what you think you need. But the reality is, because we keep getting missold as individuals, sometimes we see, like Dana spoke about at the top of the show, we see the shiny penny, it's glimmering, it's glamorous, so we chase after it. Paul mentioned, what is a real asset? Is buying a watch an asset, etc.? We see this stuff and we say, yeah, I gotta do that because that's what's being marketed to me. The reality is we've made a good business sense case for property. We've made a good historical sense for property. We've also given you a social justice case for property. Let me tell you something. If you're not invested in property after today's show, I don't know what you're really doing. Let me just put it that way. I don't know what you're really doing. And the reality is, the heart of it is probably exactly what Dana spoke about at the top of the show, is probably really fear. And the reality is, if you want to get out of fear, all you've got to do is work with someone who can see the real you inside of you. And that person is usually a coach. It is usually a mentor. It is usually someone who can say to you, you know what, I see greatness in you, regardless of whether you see it in yourself. So let's bring that out. Let's pull it out and let's make you who you're supposed to be. So again, Dana, thank you ever so much. Paul, thank you ever so much. I got Remy in the chat who says happy anniversary Impact Team. We appreciate you, Remy, for what you're doing in the chat. We got Maria who says great value from you all. Thank you. Listen, Maria, thank you for tuning in and being a part of the show. Guys, this is what we do. If you've ever joined the Impact Investing Show before, you know it's all about value. That's our heart. That's our hope. So we're going to keep on doing that. Now, I'm going to go through all of the admin that I gotta do to round out the show. But guys, I'm gonna leave my people here. So again, if you guys have got questions, let your questions come through. And side by side with that, if you've got specific appreciation you want to show for something, a nugget that was dropped, a piece of gold that was dropped on your lap today through means of this conversation, please let us know in the chat so we can make sure that we pass that on. Now guys, look, I always appreciate the fact that the chat is just being flooded with comments from people who are showing appreciation. So guys, keep doing that. If you haven't hit like already, you know what to do. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, I don't know what to say to you. And side by side with that, guys, you know you need to keep pushing forward in your property investing journey by working with someone. So all the links are in the description. I can't say that enough. All the links are in the description. So that brings me to the point where I might as well tell you about our free resource for you. Now, for today's show, it's the anniversary show. So we thought we'd let you know that the free resource is for you to go and book a discovery call with one of the people, one of the guests or myself that have been on the show. And you can do that very simply by jumping into the description. We got 3 links: connect with Dana, connect with Paul, connect with Samuel. And if you are interested in that, you can book a call and we can help you on that call ascertain how you can move further faster in your property investing journey, how you can move further faster in your business journey, because you might be a person who's just got specific business needs which aren't necessarily related to property. I'm telling you, Dana can help you, Paul can help you, I can help you. So let's connect in that way. Go into the description of this video. Even if you're watching on replay, guys, the links will still be open. Go into the description of this video, take full advantage, book the call, connect with someone who can speak to you on an individual personal level and help you unlock what you need to unlock in order for you to move forward. So that's the key resource. Now, let me share with you guys a few announcements as we see if any questions are coming in, because we want to give you that opportunity, guys, if you do have specific questions, to ask your questions also. And again, I'm just going to say it again, guys, if you've got some appreciation from this show, hit that like button. Side by side with that, press the subscribe button and the bell notification. Now, firstly, I want to say a big thank you to all of you guys who have hit subscribe, all of you guys who have hit like, all of you guys who have shared any of our videos. This show is only what it is because you guys as a community are participating, and we appreciate that. And I want you to know that every time you do hit the like button, every time you do press subscribe and hit the bell notification, you're not just helping our channel to grow. What you're actually doing is helping the YouTube algorithm recommend this content to other people just like you and just like me. And let me tell you something, Dana spoke about it when she mentioned the social justice piece. There are people out there who do not have access to this communication. Why? Because the YouTube channel's small. Why? Because we only have 300 plus subscribers. Okay, now there's YouTube channels with 100,000 subscribers, and all they're gonna do is show you how to create a meme, for example. This YouTube channel is trying to help people move further faster in their property investing journey. So guys, be a participant and continue to do what you're doing, and a great big appreciation to all of you who have helped out in that way. Now, if you're one of those people who are interested in supporting the channel, feel free to do so. The links are in the description. Side by side with that, if you're someone who's right at the beginning of your property journey and you are just timid and afraid, you don't even know what to do, you don't even know who to call, you don't even know if there's a Ghostbusters to phone, what you can do is go to the link impactproperties.co.uk/day1. I'm going to say that again, impactproperties.co.uk/day1. And for the last time, impactproperties.co.uk/day1. If you go to that link, you will see the 21 days of property investing journey started there. You've got 21 days of value, of live stream content and value that we did on the 1st of January 2021 all the way to the 21st of January 2021 to help you guys move further, faster in your property investing journey. And last but not least, if you're looking for a Facebook group where you can connect with people and learn a bit more about property, links in the description. Woo! That's like the fastest I've gone through the announcements. But guys, I'm just going through quick because I want to make this show one where every single person can get that value. So let me put my people back on the screen. Let me go through the chat one more time. And then after that, we are saying our goodbyes. Guys, I want to also appreciate every single person who said happy anniversary, happy birthday for the show. Guys, we appreciate you. I'm enjoying this. I broke out the glass today. You know, I'm drinking H2O, you know, in style. That's what we do out here. All right, I'm choosing the healthy option, as me and my guests were laughing about earlier on. All right, so I got Ben Kingdom who says happy anniversary. I got Temi who says happy anniversary. Mark throws in the happy anniversary. Thank you guys all for your appreciation of the show and what you're doing, guys. Keep moving forward, guys. That's my encouragement to you. Marnie says new. I've got so many comments. Okay, here's a question that came in. I think this question is for Paul. So let's run with this one real quick. The question for you, Paul, is if you're doing things properly, you're not selling. That was a statement you made earlier on in the show. Now, I know exactly what you mean, but the question's been asked by Marnie. If you're doing things properly, you're not going to be selling. Talk to us a little bit about that. What do you mean when you say that, Paul?
Effectively, if you make a profit and you sell the property, you're gonna create a chargeable event and pay capital gains tax. The secret to, I call it the holy grail of investing, and it's wide in the market now. They call it buy, refurbish, rent, BRRR. It used to be called momentum investing. I was doing it before I even knew what it was called.
Before it had a name.
But basically, if you refinance, you pull your money back out, you keep the asset, and you do it again. It's a cookie cutter approach. So there's no need to be selling. If you're buying correctly and you're identifying the opportunities correctly, then you can build a portfolio with a small amount of money. I certainly wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth. And if I'm honest, my journey started off, I was taking deposits off of credit cards. You can't get away with that anymore. But that's how I started, with having no money. So that's what I mean by not having to sell.
Powerful. Thank you ever so much for sharing that, Paul. Next one, it's not a question per se, but someone's written something, and I want to throw this to Dana, because I think that there's a lot more to it than what this person has written, and I don't want anyone to leave the show thinking laptop, mobile phone, and Canva, and they're ready to go in terms of creating a brand. So Temi Alabi says in the chat, laptop, phone, and Canva already on the branding. Thanks, Dana. And they were saying that because Dana was talking about your personal brand being important. Dana, talk to me about the personal brand. Is the personal brand just about what you can create on Canva? And for those of you who don't know, Canva is just online, digital editing, photo editing software for images and stuff like that. So Dana, what do you think? Is it just that, or does Temi need to book a call with you to understand the depth and complexities of branding as a business?
Just so I heard you right, because my sound's still not 100%, apologies. You've asked me about personal brand, and I thought I heard you ask about Canva. I was like, what?
You see, I can already tell we're in the same place. So basically, we had a comment come in. The comment said, laptop, phone, and Canva already on the branding. Thanks, Dana. So when you spoke about personal branding earlier, this person interpreted it as, they're going to be on Canva and creating their personal brand. And I'm passing that to you and saying, is that what it takes? Or does that person actually need to book a call with you and start to really understand the depth and the complexity and the real value in a personal brand? Does that make sense?
Okay, I can't hear you 100%. So I'm just going to go with what I think you're asking. And I hope the answer will be representative.
You're good, sis.
So I like to think about personal branding as something that's really simple, really easy, not that complicated. And once we've identified what our personal brand is, we just want to lean into that and move forward. So for me, a personal brand is simply what people say about you when you're not in the room. That's it. What are people going to say about you when you're not in the room? Now, of course, we're very familiar with corporate brands, like we all know a BMW, etc., all of that stuff. But what are they chiefly going to say about you when you leave the room? And also, how is it that you make people feel? Because people, as Maya Angelou said, won't remember what you said or what you did, but people will always remember how you made them feel. So, for example, are you somebody that's known as a go-getter? Somebody that gets things done, somebody that pays great attention to detail, somebody that really cares about other people, somebody who is a specialist within a particular field, but then has niched it down. You have kind of psychology, for example, and there's a psychologist that I follow called Dr. Rimini. You can check her out on YouTube, and her specialism is narcissism. So although she's a psychologist and she's qualified to do everything, you know that Dr. Rimini, her specialty is narcissism. And that is what we're going to find her talk about in some guide, the majority of the time at least. She might talk about, business and all those things, but that's her thing. So there will also be kind of clues kind of in your life, like what type of hobbies have you engaged in? Are you known as somebody, for example, that likes extreme sports? Now, the key thing is we've got to match that personal brand now to the personal people that you're potentially serving. So it's a bit like, let's say you've made a pie, you've taken the pie out of the oven, you're going to cut a piece of that pie out now and serve it to a particular person. So what do I mean by that? So I've told you guys this evening about several key moments and things that have happened in my life. If it was a different audience, I'm now going to drill down on different parts. So I may not talk so much about my experience of personal development because it may not be appropriate for that forum. So it's simply a story, and stories and human beings are inextricably linked. From the time we come out of our mother's womb, somewhere's singing us a lullaby and telling us a story. And the reason why stories connect with us so readily is because it really taps into that, again, kind of primal part of us, and we don't need to really overthink it and analyze it and really understand it. It connects with us, and it is. A personal brand is key to your success, regardless of whether it's property or otherwise. Only 15% approximately of any success that you have is going to be down to your technical knowledge, i.e., I'm a specialist with creative property strategies. The other 85% of your success is going to be down to how you can relate, rapport, and build relationships with people and individuals. And much of that initial relationship building is really steeped into who are you, why do you do, and why should I believe that you're not doing this just because of money? And that comes down to having identified a personal story. So Samuel shared some of his personal story. Paul shared very eloquently some of his personal story about unfortunately losing his dad in 2003, and that really being the catalyst for him to kind of really lean into his property business. That is what I'm going to remember, probably not anything else. It's the story that is most memorable. It's the story that you connect with. It's the story that's going to help you get your foot in the door. And it's the story that's going to keep people reconnected to you long after you've seen them, right? You're only going to remember about 10% of what you see, heard, and experienced today. Those key parts of the story is the glue that puts people together.
Powerful. Powerful, Dana. That is so powerful. Guys, listen, I don't know what to say. Listen, I cannot keep Dana and Paul on the live show for much longer. Guys, powerful. And the reason I needed to ask Dana that question is because I could tell from the comment that was basically shared, laptop, phone, and Canva, ready to start working on my personal brand. I knew that, you know, what Dana's talking about is much deeper. It's much more complex than, oh, I've got a logo, or, oh, I've got some artwork. Or no, listen, guys, we ain't even talking about that. If you think about the questions Dana just asked, what are people going to say about you when you leave the room? What are people going to feel about you when you leave the room? Guys, let me tell you something. There is nothing you can do on Photoshop that's going to have that effect. Okay? That effect doesn't come from Photoshop, Photopea, Lunapic, Canva. It doesn't come from any software. That process comes from actually discovery. Okay? The process of discovering who you are and what you have to offer to the marketplace. Look, Dana, thank you ever so much for that. Paul, again, thank you ever so much. Guys, I'm going to be honest and transparent. We got questions flooding the chat right now, but we are not going to take any more questions because of the time. We've been on this live stream for over 2 hours. And guys, I need to give respect to those people that are fellow leaders with me. So as a result, we are going to have to shoot off. But guys, again, I've seen the claps in the chat. Please show some appreciation for Dana and Paul. Let them know that you'd love to see them back on the show again. Come on, guys, say something in the chat so I can read it to them and they can be like, wow, Samuel, your audience are just the kind of audience I want to spend time with. But guys, let me assure you this. It has been an absolutely fantastic show, rocking with both of you. You both know I've got a lot of appreciation and love for you both, especially because of what you do in the space to support people to move forward in terms of their businesses and even outside of property. So with all of that being said, I'm going to say for the last time, if you haven't hit that like button, hit that like button. Side by side with that, press subscribe, become a part of what we're doing on this channel. Let some people know, hit the share button, and last but not least, if you have not gonna see this video, you need to go watch this video right now. That video is going to show you how you too can invest in property in 2021 and win. And just before you actually go watch that video, jump in the description, book a call, and make sure you touch base and connect with, if not me, Dana or Paul. With all of that being said, Samuel I Can Win signing out. And as I usually say, happy investing.